Hi there, welcome to my channel. For those of you who may be new, my name is Lynette, and today I want to share with you my PCOS story. This video will be part of an ongoing PCOS series that will be on my channel, so if you're interested in joining me in my journey, then you should definitely subscribe. For any of you viewers who have PCOS, I would love to know what some of your symptoms have been and what your PCOS journey has looked like. So please be sure to chat with me down below in the comments. I wanted to be able to create a space for fellow PCOS sisters to be able to share. Early on in my junior high years, my earliest signs that I had PCOS, which I didn't even realize that these were indicators that I had PCOS, were hirsutism and irregular periods. So I started my cycles when I was about 12 years old, and my cycles probably didn't regulate until I was maybe 15, 16 years old. So I actually remember a lot of my friends in high school, like my freshman year, complaining about their periods because they would get them monthly. And I remember thinking, wow, I maybe get 3 or 4 periods a year. I didn't think anything of it. I just thought I was lucky that I didn't have as many cycles as other people. It was also at this time when I hit puberty that I started to grow a lot of body hair. Very, very thick, very dark body hair. And I remember being so embarrassed and so ashamed because I felt like a dude. I had really thick body hair on my abdomen, my legs, my chin, everywhere. Those were my first indicators that there was a hormonal imbalance and something was going on, and I had no idea that those two could ever be connected. Around the times that my periods started to regulate, so that 35-day cycle, I was probably 16, maybe 15 years old. That was also the time that I started to experience depression. I noticed that my depression always correlated with my cycles. So about a week to a week and a half before I actually got my period, I just remember I would always be in the biggest slump ever. It was like nothing you can do or say could get me out of whatever hopelessness or sadness I was feeling. And I just had no motivation and no fervor for life. So I've had hirsutism, irregular periods. They kind of eventually regulated to a 35-day cycle. I had depression, and then I was also experiencing really severe cramping. I remember going to the doctors and telling them about it, and I was probably 17 at the time, and they recommended that I get on birth control. At the time, I was not sexually active, and I just thought in my brain, birth control was for specifically so that you didn't get pregnant. And I knew there were no chances of me getting pregnant at that point in my life. So I just didn't see the necessity of it. And I hit kind of an all-time low my sophomore year of college. So I was about, 19, 20 years old. I think the depression was coupled with a lot of things that were going on personally. It wasn't until my junior year of college that I really started to get interested in health and exercising, losing weight, all of that. And that is the year, honestly, that I feel I began to really flourish. I lost a lot of weight. I remember feeling I had a lot of energy. I was doing a Zumba and a lot of cardio. I really changed my eating habits and my lifestyle habits, and I really felt good that year. And lo and behold, when I started to make all these changes, my depression really started to basically evaporate. All right, you guys, my camera cut off, so let me just get situated again. This is post-college. After college, I traveled for that year. My body was under a lot of stress. My periods were pretty much the same, so really bad cramping, 35-day cycles, still dealing with hirsutism, so excess body hair. I've always kind of struggled with it, but I wasn't dealing with depression. It was that sometime after I returned from that time abroad that I started to experience anxiety. And it was to the point where I was actually starting to experience panic attacks, full-blown panic attacks. Women with PCOS tend to be more prone to depression and anxiety, and I can leave some articles and things about how it's all connected. It wasn't until I was 25 that I started to notice my hair thinning. I really didn't think much of it at first. Mind you, I still don't know that I have PCOS at this point. it turned into, my hair's kind of thinning into, why are giant clumps of hair falling out in the shower? My primary referred me to my dermatologist. My dermatologist did a whole panel of like hormonal stuff, and then they saw my hormones were like out of whack. But just the stressors of that entire year triggered alopecia in me. So I do have like a formal diagnosis of androgenetic alopecia, which is male pattern baldness, or in my case, female pattern baldness. So it was my hair loss that actually prompted me and triggered me to kind of go figure out what was going on. Like a giant puzzle, I started to put all the pieces together of my life, and I saw my irregular periods, I saw my anxiety and my depression, I saw my severe cramping and very heavy periods, I saw, you know, that 35-day cycle. I mean, all of that started to make sense. One thing I forgot to mention was leading up to getting married, I started to do the fertility awareness method, which I'll talk about that in another video. I noticed during that time that my cycles were really off, not only by the length of them, like that 35-day cycle. My temperature was also extremely irregular, and I had what was called luteal phase defect, which I'm not going to go into detail in this video, but it's another symptom of my PCOS. I also got an ultrasound, and they did find cysts on my ovaries. So I'm going to just like list out all the symptoms here on the screen so that you can see them. But it was all of the pieces of this puzzle that essentially what led me to diagnose myself with PCOS. It was actually around the beginning of 2016 that I started to try to figure out how to take care of myself. I'm going to be sharing with you what I know about PCOS and what I've done so far to manage it. Anyways, that was a pretty lengthy video, but I hope that kind of gave you an idea of where I'm at. I appreciate you guys so much for listening to my story. Please talk to me down in the comments about some of your experiences of PCOS, and make sure you subscribe, stick around so that we can continue on in this journey together. All right, until the next one, bye.